Hey YouTube, Richard Scott here. Today is February 23rd of 2023 and I am in west central Alabama checking up on some of our honeybee colonies, and they're a little feisty this morning because it's overcast, it's warm. We're in the 70s now, we'll be in the 80s today, so it is kind of an awesome spring preview. So again, getting late in February, already adding a few supers. Added some on Monday. Some of these colonies are really packed out with bees. I've had to feed a few honeybee colonies because they're starting to run low on resources, and warm days like this will kind of hurt them just a bit. So that is something we have got to pay attention to. Let me show you what we got. And I say warm days will hurt the bees as in their food resources, simply because they'll eat through it faster, versus if it's cold weather, they're more almost like a dormant stage. And they don't eat through their food as fast as they would on a warm day. So that's kind of what we're having to fight right now. So just checking out some of these honeybee colonies. These are getting stirred up, so let me get away from this one. This one's one of the more aggressive ones. Go over to this one. Another very strong colony of bees, these two right here. Look at the pollen they're bringing in. They've been bringing in pollen for several weeks now. I checked on these bees this week, and nearly every bee coming back in had pollen on their backs. It's still pretty early in the morning, so I imagine a little later on today it will look like that once again. But just to show you what it looks like. I came in on Monday, today is Thursday, came in back on Monday and added some honey supers to some of these colonies that were expanding very quickly. Trying to give the queen room to lay, and I want to prevent them from swarming if I can. But again, the big thing, what I like to do is, let me zoom this thing out just a little bit. What I like to do is when I go into my nest, when I add the supers the very first part of the springtime season, again it's still late February, what I like to do is move the honey over. I'll bring, this is an empty super here with drawn frames. What I'll do is I'll take honey frames out of the middle here, put on the outsides up here, take empty drawn frames and put it in the middle here. So in other words, you have this column of drawn frames with honey on the outside. Gives the queen room to come up out of the brood box, this deep box here, and lay eggs. She can come up all the way here if she needs to. What I want to do is prevent a cap. I understand the queen never crosses the honey, or typically doesn't cross the honey, so I want to prevent a cap from happening. I want to give them plenty of room. That queen wants to go up. It's just a natural process for bees, so I want to give her plenty of room to expand that brood nest up, and then have honey on the outsides for the feed for them. And as they continue to grow, I'll continue to add supers on top of here and expand that out. So that's what I like to do. You can also checkerboard them. I've done that before, where you take inside here like a honey frame, a drawn frame that's empty with empty cells, a honey frame, a drawn frame with empty cells, and again there's 10 frames inside each one of these boxes. So that's what that looks like. This hive over here, I want to show you this. This one has been huge. I should have split it back in the summer, but for some reason I just wanted to kind of test this one. I wanted to just see how it did this winter. It's such a huge colony. This thing had, that's the brood box in the bottom, the deep box. Got one super, two super, three super. I added another super on Monday. So, and you see my notes from last year. At one point in June, this thing looked iffy, looked questionable, but right after that, it just exploded. So, what I did is I just added a super on top of here. I did the same thing where I took some empty drawn combs up there and mixed down into here, into the box below, to give the queen room to come on up. Because the queen was laying in all three of these boxes, and then you had honey on the outside, so the brood nest is coming up just like that. And again, I put this top super on Monday. As you can see, they're already working this box. Now, there's not a whole lot of nectar yet. There's some nectar coming in. It's a lot of pollen, but probably what they're doing at this point is actually cleaning those cells off, polishing them off, getting them ready for the queen to lay and then to store nectar and pollen. I'm not using a smoker, and it is Kind of overcast today. And by the way, you see how some of our trees are blooming out? These are pear trees. And you see how those are actually leafed out already. So we got a lot of vegetation coming out, a little ahead of schedule. And again, you see where they're starting to work these cells. Again, they're just cleaning them off right now. They're trying to get them ready. Bees getting a little aggravated. All right, my note here, February 20th, we're back on Monday. Added this super up here, just see what it looks like. And I'm just gonna see if they're working on it yet. Oh yeah, see they're starting to clean it off. Getting it ready. So they all look really, really good. I'm excited to see how things are shaping up so far. In terms of stuff blooming, we're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule on a typical spring. You've got the henbit that's fully out in pretty much everybody's yard now, in fields. You've got, let's see, what all is blooming now? Red maple is fully bloomed. It's been bloomed for several weeks. You've got just various flowers that are beginning to come out, the early spring flowers. And obviously they're finding pollen, see it coming in on the back legs. So these are looking good.